One of my favorite Edge Tribe channels, JOVO Ventures Outdoors, posted an open tag about what your favorite lockbacks are. Lockbacks are my favorite knife, and I got a lot of them, so I thought I'd share a few of them with you today. My longest owned lockback is a Western 541. I got this in 1981. My first buck was I believe purchased originally in 1978 or 79. This is a 1981 model. And I really liked the buck, but I actually liked this knife better. It's a little more rounded than the bucks were. A little palm swell. It is narrower overall, but I found it a little more comfortable in my hand. I still like it. It's a great looking knife. It's held up from the wear. Great knife. One of the differences between the bucks and the Schrade and the case knives, they have their bolster and liner are one piece. The Westerns, the bolsters are separate. You'll see there's brass liners and then the nickel silver bolsters outside there. I've never had a problem with it. The knife is still tight after a lot of use, and so it's a well-made knife. The one piece I believe would be stronger on paper, but in reality it doesn't make that much difference. Picked up the Western 542 much later. I've always been attracted to these Staglon handles for some reason. They work very well, comfortable in the hand, and I think they look good. Another Western I've carried and used a lot is the 521. It's also part of the Westlock series. This one I picked up it says it's an 82, but I think I picked it up later than that. And carried this knife. This was my EDC knife for a long time. You see the edge is getting pretty close to the bobcat's foot. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera or not. Very good little knife. Cleaned quite a few trout with that. A little bit small for my taste now especially, but it worked good. It's a great knife. I only have one case lockback, and it's the XX Changer. I really like this knife. It has the square feeling of the older bucks, the 60s and 70s bucks, which I'm not crazy about, and that can get a hot spot in your hand, but it's pretty thin. I'll actually pocket carry this once in a while. Corset. Blades are easily exchanged. Comes with a nice sheath with blades, alternate blades in there. There's a drop point. They call it a utility blade. It's kind of a fillet looking blade. Not quite long enough to be a good one. And then a saw. In the little bit I've used the saw, it's definitely not as good as the Swiss Army saw or the one on the Leatherman, but it works a little bit. It's a real handsome looking knife, and I do like that you can exchange the blades. Another brand of lockbacks I have a lot of are the Uncle Henry's. This is the LB8, probably one of my favorite non-buck lockbacks. Very robustly built knife. I like the Staglon covers. Very well made. The blade shape is outstanding. I think the blade steel was some form of 440, the Schrade Plus. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's well heat treated and has always worked well for me. I also have the LB7 thanks to Knife Survival, and I'm sure Thrifty Kniffy gets a little blame for these as well. And I did find on eBay, this one came as part of a set. It came with this is an LB7, came with an LB5 and an LB3, all with this dark cover material and the nickel silver bolsters. It's quite a handsome knife. I don't know how many they made. This one is 550. A knife that Thrifty Kniffy and especially can get credit for me having is these LB5s. This is the American made version. I buy them as a matter of habit when I see them for around 30 bucks. I can't pass them up. Fantastic knives. I really like the blade shape. I've used it as a pocket dropper, and it also comes with a sheath that's very good and comfortable to wear. One last Schrade and Uncle Henry is the LB3. It's a Barbie-sized lockback. This one's not in very good shape. I'm on the hunt for one in good condition, but it's still functional, and it's for as small as it is really an excellent little knife. Another knife Thrifty Kniffy gets the blame for is this stag-handled LB7. It looks like it has all American-made parts, but it was, at least it's assembled in China. It does have the Schrade Plus USA stamp on the blade. It looks and sharpens just like the other ones, my older American-made ones. For the money, you can't go wrong with this knife. Really a nice addition to the collection. I don't know that I'll ever carry it, but I do use it on occasion. This is the 70T. Has a carbon blade. Really a good knife. This one I've used quite a bit. Then I have a bareheaded 60T. Another very good knife. It feels quite a bit lighter than these others. Very good lockup. Same excellent blade. Schrade Plus steel. Nice. If I was worried about weight, I'd probably carry this one more. This one would probably carry in the pocket better than the others. The Buck 110 is what sparked my passion for knives. When I was a pup and a newly minted tenderfoot, I saw one in use on a campout, and I had to have one from that moment on. Now I have probably 24 at least, and it's still my favorite knife, over 50 years later. They come in a lot of different flavors nowadays. Besides the excellent 420HC, you can get them in S30V. This is a lightweight model. I took the clip off and I changed the thumb stud because I thought it was too far forward. It's a knife I like, but it doesn't have the same appeal to me as the heavier traditionals. But if I was doing the Pacific Crest Trail and ounces mattered, I would definitely carry that. This is I think now discontinued pro model. It has G10 covers and S30V. Excellent knife. I think it weighs a little bit more than the standard brass, but fantastic knife. I really like using it. This one I think was a copper and clad exclusive. It has gray covers, which really looks quite good to me, and it has the 5160 steel. I haven't used this knife much, but I have extreme confidence it would do everything I needed to do. And of course there's the MagnaCut Buck 110. Fabulous knife. MagnaCut, in my estimation and testing, has done everything as advertised. Is it worth double the money of a 420HC? I don't know. I think that's for each individual to decide for themselves. I really like the MagnaCut 110. I hope they offer it as a custom shop option. If it would be perfect if I can sharpen that on a rock. I haven't tried, but if I could sharpen this with a rock, it would be the perfect 110. Now Buck offers an excellent drop point to go with the excellent clip points they have. My preference is still for the clip point, but the more I use the drop point, the more appreciation I have for it. The clip point is a lot better for when I'm carving and other precision type chores, but there's really, the performance is only slightly better than the drop point overall. These are fantastic knives. I have quite a few of them. I have the 55 as well. You can see the size difference. Actually haven't really warmed up to this knife for some reason. I prefer the LB5, which is a little bit bigger, and even the LB3, which is quite a bit smaller, to the 55. Not sure why that is. It has a great blade shape, but for some reason it may be just too thin, or it just doesn't feel as good in the hand to me. You know, this knife I could use on a hunting trip and not have any problems with it. It feels very good and would do 99% of what I need a knife to do. This one's, if I wanted to carry a small knife, lockback, this would be it. Last but by no means least, the Buck Ranger. Fantastic, almost perfect knife. If it wasn't for the 110, that would be the best knife in the world. Instead, it's just a close second. I'm sure Peterbilt Knife Guy will love that. What can you? The Buck Ranger is fantastic. It's a really good size. It feels a little cramped in my hand, but you can still do heavy work with that comfortably. I know a lot of people like this little finger guard. Actually, that's not a feature that I think it looks good and you know, functions in if you were stabbing or something with that, but in practice actually don't like that. If I do get a hot spot when I'm carving with it, it's from this groove right here. One of my favorite knives, and if I had to only have one knife literally to do everything, it would probably be this knife. It's the 112 Pro. Has nickel silver bolsters, G10 handles, and an S30V blade. I am so impressed with this knife every time I use it. It's fabulous. Both of these knives would be wonderful if you only had one knife and you had to do everything with it. It wouldn't be ideal for everything, but you could do it with these. Of course, there's this, the drop point version. I did not expect to like the drop point version because these are so perfect. You know, in the pictures I didn't really even like the looks, but when I got it in hand, it looks fantastic. The polished nickel silver, the dark ebony is just stunning. And the blade, I got the 420, which is, you know, a great everyday steel, easily sharpened, even on a rock, and you know, I can say nothing bad about it. It stays sharp as long as I need it to. When the edge does need to be renewed, it's very easy to do. Fantastic knife.